The leaders of Greece, Israel and Greek-administered Cyprus have signed an agreement to build a new gas pipeline across the eastern Mediterranean. However, it contradicts a memorandum of understanding signed by Turkey and Libya over their maritime borders in November. The pipeline will be up to 2,000 kilometres long and transfer up to 12 billion cubic metres of natural gas per year. It will start in Israel, connect to Greek Cyprus, before continuing to the Greek island of Crete, the Greek mainland, and then on to Italy. But last month, Turkey signed an agreement with Libya's UN-backed government to create their own exclusive economic zones in the Mediterranean, and the Eastern Mediterranean pipeline runs right through it. For more on this, Andrew Hopkins joins me from Athens, where the leaders have just met. Andrew, what came out of Thursday's meeting? What's the latest you can tell us?
Well, the deal has now been signed and the closing statements have been made by these three political leaders, and the message they've been trying to get across in their statements is that this pipeline will help cooperation and development in Europe. It will help the European Union wean itself off its reliance on Russia for its gas supplies. At the moment, it receives about 40% of all its gas from Russia, and they also say that this project isn't a hostile act towards anyone, that it's a common project that anyone can join in, providing that all the people involved respect each other's sovereignties and boundaries. But there's no getting away from the fact that this project does really face quite a number of challenges. One of them is that memo of understanding signed by Turkey and the UN-backed government in Libya, which you mentioned just a short time ago. Another is the fact that there is no mechanism in this project for any benefits, any profits to be shared in a fair manner with the Turkish Cypriots living on the island of Cyprus. And there are also financial considerations here as well, because if you talk to some of the experts in the energy field, they have real misgivings about whether this project can get off the ground, because this pipeline will go to depths of about 3,000 metres at the bottom of the Mediterranean. It will go across a seismic area, an area that's prone to earthquakes, and that's going to shoot up the cost of this pipeline before we've even really sort of got off the ground. So if it does actually come into effect, by the time this gas reaches Europe, it's likely to be at a higher price than some of the other gas coming from other rival pipelines, possibly coming from Russia. So it does face some real challenges to become a reality.
You say that in their closing statements, the leaders said that this is not hostile and anyone is free to join. But clearly this is not going to be making Turkey particularly happy. Tensions are already strained in that part of the Eastern Mediterranean. How has Turkey reacted to this pipeline agreement?
Well, Turkey's views on this pipeline and similar other projects which have been talked about are pretty well known. There's the one issue about that memo of understanding that Turkey and the UN-backed government in Libya have signed just a few weeks ago. That agreement means that these two countries will basically be dividing up part of the Mediterranean to be sort of designated as their maritime boundaries, and this particular pipeline is going to go straight over that. So there are going to be some objections, and the Turkish president has already said that he won't allow other sort of projects to go through this area claimed by Turkey. And the other issue for Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots as well is this fact that there's going to be no benefits, no profits shared fairly with the Turkish Cypriots. This pipeline is going to, in the early stages at least, largely take Israeli gas onto the European market, but it is also going to be linked to the island of Cyprus, but only the part that is administered by the Greek Cypriots. And this has been a common problem, an issue that has been raised by Turkey and the Greek Cypriots in recent years, that these projects do not help the Turkish Cypriots in any way, but yet they should have a fair share of what is going on, and that is why Turkey and the Turkish Cypriots are drilling in the Mediterranean in the past year or so.
Our correspondent Andrew Hopkins live for us from Athens. Thank you for that analysis.